Hey, what's up, everybody? Justin Sardi here. Got a really awesome guest on the call today. I'm really excited to be talking with my buddy Tom Breeze. Now, Tom's one of these guys that I looked up to when I was first getting into YouTube ads. So yeah, really excited to have him on here. There's a lot of new changes that are happening with YouTube, and I've been talking with Tom about kind of what he's got going on, what he sees happening, and how he is kind of adjusting some new things he's doing. And mostly, I don't want to give it all away. Tom can really explain this a lot more than I can, or a lot better than I can. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do a little interview presentation kind of thing with Tom, talk about what he's got going on, what he sees happening, and what he's doing. So thanks for coming out today, man.
Oh, Justin, it's good to be here, buddy. It's always funny to hear that people say that, like, oh, in the early days, I used to kind of follow you and what you're doing. I've been doing YouTube ads for like 10 years now, and I forget how long that is. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's good to be here, buddy. And as always, I love jamming out with you.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, I mean, if you want to just kind of, obviously, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, Google's making some huge changes going into 2023, removing targeting, changing the way that the ads are served, introducing YouTube ad shorts or short ads, all that kind of stuff, which is coming pretty soon. They're like revamping everything and making probably one of the biggest changes that at least I've seen since they started adding like calls to action on videos.
Yeah, right.
Really, prior, like I remember back in the day, you used to have to just like click on the video and
Anywhere on the video, right?
yeah. And sorry for the background noise. I'm working from home today. My daughter's turning 3 tomorrow, so we're getting some stuff ready for her, smoking some food, all that kind of stuff. So she's talking in the background, but all good. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, huge changes, and we're all, everybody's kind of maybe not scrambling to adapt, but everybody's like, whoa, what's going to happen next? They're pulling similar audiences, content targeting from campaigns with goals, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you want to kind of share some of your insights, I'd love to hear them, and I'm sure everybody else would too.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, because I call this, like, for me, I've been looking at this for the last 18 months, really, of like things have been changing quite drastically on the platform in minor ways, but a lot of minor ways for a long time. And then more recently, there's been some major changes, and it's like, oh, this is a culmination of things that are in the pipeline for YouTube anyway, I believe. And so not to say that I could have predicted this, I'm not that good, but I do feel like you get to, well, you must know it as well, like sometimes you just go through waves with YouTube, and it's, as you start promoting on the platform, you're like, oh, I've seen this sort of behavior before from YouTube, and I can anticipate what's going to happen next. So I felt like there was something like this was going to happen for a long time. But I've got some slides, so maybe what I do is unpack it and then go through it from there. So I'll just share my screen, and then
yeah, for sure.
Cool. And then I'll go full screen here as well. One sec. All right. So this is kind of an adaptation of a presentation I gave recently as well. So this is hopefully clarify things a bit. But yeah, so when it comes to YouTube and looking at 2023 and how to really crush it on YouTube in 2023, this journey started in 2021 for me, because I was looking at YouTube and thinking, right, we've been doing, especially during the pandemic, like things were so good, like really low CPM, so the cost of advertising was nice and low, and far more eyeballs at home due to lockdowns than usual, and people just freely buying stuff because they were bored, pretty much. And so you had this like culmination of these different situations whereby advertisers, if you're in the right place at the right time, it was a great time to advertise. And then as people came out of the lockdowns and people started going back to normal, and getting the new normal, let's call it, ad budgets started to return to the platform. YouTube had made some big changes that went under the radar, that affected things, and the cost of advertising increased. And also, like, people's buying, especially with a kind of looming recession and things. Some people think we're in it already. Some people think it's just around the corner. There's definitely a shift in the way that we wanted to carry on advertising on YouTube, you know, and I think we feel it first because we're a performance-based agency. So that's kind of what I run on a day-to-day basis. So we kind of felt the pain first, so to speak, of like is creeping up CPMs and being like, right, we've got to get better and better at our game. But there's only you can only take it so far before you're like, okay, cool, we literally are the best. We believe we're kind of like doing the best we can, and still results aren't where they used to be quite so easily. So I think every company's felt the same thing. And I'm talking about like over a long period of time. I'm not talking about like in a space of a month or something. I'm talking about like if you expand over the last 5 years, YouTube's a very different platform to now where it was previously. So this has been in the works for a while, but this is Karen Campbell, I love her to pieces. She's one of our clients. She's amazing. It was people like this that we had to turn down typically in the agency, because we'd be like, oh, look, they're not ideal. They're not kind of got all their funnels and everything absolutely dialed in. They won't be able to create perfect creative. And it was always tough to accept these sorts of clients. Because when we looked at the client, it would be like, is there an audience? Yeah, she sells mixed media art tutorials. Fine, there's a big audience for that. Can she create the ads? Not direct response ads in the way that I'd want them. She's brilliant at course creation and providing amazing experiences to our customers, but ads, I'm not going to get her to do a hard-hitting kind of direct response ad easily. And in terms of funnels and acquisition, is that in place? Probably not how we want it to be if we're being really picky. And they had no experience in an ad account. So it was almost like this is a no-go for us typically. But she was incredible at creating products and she was incredible at creating content. So it's these people that are in this bracket of people where they can create amazing content. They have amazing courses. Their customers, the happiest customers I've ever seen. Literally, the testimonials are raving about her product. So she's a phenomenal talent. It's just that when it comes to direct response advertising, it's a tough gig for companies like this, you know, and it's not going to be the sort of thing where you just out the gate get things working immediately. So we're like, there's so many companies like this, and how do we help those companies with YouTube ads? And that was something that was on our mind, because until recently, this has been the process that we go through. We'll create an in-stream video ad, which is like what you see here on the page. So you're just about to watch a video, and then the skippable in-stream ad comes in front of you. And you have the bottom left-hand corner, you can click the link, and it's going to take you through to a landing page. Normally, we'd send people through to some sort of VSL, normally ungated actually as well. So no opt-in for it, just straight to the VSL. And then that'll straight go on to a sale. Normally that price point would be around about $50, there or thereabouts, sometimes a little bit more. And then with lots of upsells if possible to increase that average order value or the AOV. So we'll be looking at these two numbers of like, right, what's the click-through rate? Is that looking good? And what's the conversion rate of people that hit the page to then buy? And then before that, we then say, well, what is the cost of advertising? So the CPM, cost per mille or cost per 1,000 impressions. So and I'm going pretty quickly through this, Justin, because I think that the audience here that we're talking to is pretty savvy. So don't need to go into too much detail about all of this. But when we look at CPM and the influencing factors which increases or increases CPM or decreases CPM, I would look at things and I'm not entirely sure what actually affects CPM. And so through a lot of data and digging around, we came up with these kind of broad brush factors that would increase or decrease CPM, being the targeting type that you're going after. So we always found like if we're doing search-based targeting, like keywords or placements or topic targeting, it's going to be more expensive than if you go for the broader audiences or even go just
definitely notice that as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then it could be like the bid strategy you'll go. So if you did like target CPA versus maximize conversion, or if you did CPV or some other kind of bid strategy, you would tend to find that those CPMs can change a little bit as well. If you're in a particularly competitive field, your CPM is going to be a little bit higher or lower. You're going to find that if you have seasonality, like in the golf industry, quite a large swing of seasonality in the summer versus the winter. If you've been running the same ad for a long time and you're getting ad fatigue, those CPMs can be affected. The length of the ad, so if you have a long ad, the CPMs are typically higher. And so there's kind of quite a few factors, but we didn't feel like we'd got it all, because even when we catered for that or appreciated what affects CPM, we still didn't feel like we knew why there were still huge swings in the data. And we're like, right, from 1 week to the next, it can just be dramatic. And it's not like competition has increased or decreased that much during that period, surely. So it set us on a bit of a journey to try and work out what's happening here. Because if we could figure out what the CPM was, then this formula is your formula for your CPA, your cost per acquisition of a new customer. So what we wanted to do is like work out, right, we're in control of CTR and conversion rate on the website. That's like literally our bread and butter. We should be able to handle those pieces, and the more we work on those, improve it. But CPM felt like out of our control, and we didn't know what affected it. So when we look at this, what we really were trying to work out is like what happens here, because just like if we run the numbers here, if your CPM was, let's say, $30, then and you had a click-through rate of 1.2% from people who saw your video load up to clicking your link to go through to your site, and then you had a conversion rate on your page of 3%. These are just arbitrary numbers. Either which way, though, your CPA would turn out to be $83.33. It's literally the mathematics of kind of a YouTube ad campaign, so to speak. But let's say, for example, you worked really hard on your creative and you put time and energy, maybe increased or tested a few scripts and hooks, maybe you increased the production. I don't know, you did loads of different things to try and improve the CTR. And let's say, for example, you increased it to 2.2%. That would be like a win in the agency. Everyone would be high-fiving each other, or the creative team would be high-fiving each other and being like, good job, well done. Now, what would end up happening, we'd think, right, great, we're going to see that CPA drop now, and we'd expect it, if the maths holds up, to be $45.45. Problem was, it never really happened like that. It wasn't like there was a direct correlation between better ads and better results. And it was rarely that simple. So the problem was the game had become harder than ever before. And this is kind of what's happening with YouTube ads, the traditional model of YouTube ads. And let me just explain a little bit more, and then I'll come back to those numbers in a second. But I've been advertising online for 13 years, I think a little bit longer now, actually. But as of May 2023, I've been doing it for 10 years, which is quite crazy. The picture in this slide is me with a little bit more brown hair. Now I've got far more gray hair. So that's probably YouTube ads, maybe 3 kids. One of the two has definitely affected the gray hair in my for me. And we run Viewability, which is a pay for results agency, just focusing purely on YouTube ads. And we oversaw 22 million in ad spend last year. And we built some new software called Bedurk.com, and we'll talk about that in a second. But we get to see so much data about what works and what doesn't work, and what's shifting, what's changing. And it gives us that unique perspective on things and how to navigate when things get a little bit tougher. So if anyone feels this is useful, feel free to just leave a comment in the box to say, get that man a beer ticket, and I know it's useful for everybody. But yeah, I've been connecting these dots up from looking at all this data and realizing that something quite drastic has been happening. So here's all the things that I've not necessarily all of them, in fact, there's more that are happening, but here's all the dots that I would call them, of like some significant things that are happening or have happened that are affecting how YouTube ads works. So you have things like rising competition and hype and pressure, fatigue, so that the audience is just not interested in hearing those sorts of messages any longer. Privacy updates, that's always a big one. AI taking over, and machine learning taking over in your accounts, but also AI now with how things are being with like ChatGPT. Well, there's a whole load of different things here, with attribution down to looming recessions and that sort of thing. But the big thing for me that's kind of gone unnoticed for a lot of people is this one, is the CPM and CTR. So the relationship between these two numbers. Now, this is when I was looking at all the data, this is what I was noticing, was that in pretty much every single account that we ran, it was this really clear correlation that you can see that as the CTR increases, the CPM increases as well. So this, if I translate that into how I talk to my family, let's say, I'd say, as you get more people clicking your ads, you have to pay more to play the game, so to speak. You have to kind of pay more if people are clicking away from the platform of YouTube. And that's exactly what's happening, is that YouTube don't really want you to have an ad that gets people leaving the platform. And that's because YouTube wants to keep their users on the platform so they can show them more ads. And that's how they make their money. So this is unlike other platforms. where, let's say, for example, you created a really good ad on Facebook, then you'll probably find you actually get a lower CPM because it's a great experience for the user. They've seen your ad, they like it, they go to your website. If they carry on the journey with you, then Facebook will reward you with a lower cost for advertising. I don't do a huge amount of advertising on Facebook, but that's what my Facebook buddies will tell me. But this trend is almost the opposite on YouTube, and it's happening across all accounts. But it started around about 18 months ago. So what's happening here is that the customer's thinking, I want to go to YouTube and I want to get my problem solved. That's like a real big reason why people go to YouTube, a problem around anything. So Justin, I know you've got a young girl, but during those first few years, you're kind of probably using Google and YouTube quite heavily just to work out how to be a good dad, right? And,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Google becomes your best friend to help you be a good parent. But businesses are also thinking, well, I want profitable customers. So those two things we know about. But then there's another thing, which is the conflict resolution, which is where YouTube is saying, well, I want users to stay on our platform. And so if you've got these three things combined, it's like, well, how do you create an ad campaign that keeps everyone happy? And that's the bit that we struggled with for a little while and try to figure out how to make that work. So it's this kind of conflict resolution in here. That's kind of like bullseye of like, if we can get that to work where YouTube are happy, your business is happy and the customer's happy, that'll be great. So looking back at this data, it's a remarkable difference in the amount you have to pay. So for every 1% increase in click-through rate, and so if let's say, for example, you go from 1.2% to 2.2%, so like a jump up of an extra point on click-through rate, your CPM can jump up by around about $12 to up to $25. And that is a crazy jump. It's been even higher than that, but that's the average with a bit of variance in there. And I've seen CPMs now at like $130, $150, which is just crazy when you look back at the account that could have been $20 a year ago. It's quite insane. And the big thing here is the CTR was such a big player in the cost of advertising. So all of these things make a big difference. All kind of the things we've highlighted do have their impact, but CTR can be the biggest impact when it comes to running ads. So if you did increase your click-through rate by 1.2% to 2.2%, then what you'll also find is your CPM can jump up to, let's say, $50. Now, not many people look for it. That's the funny thing, is that like you don't necessarily notice that increase sometimes. But what you will find is that if that increases, you're back up to $75.76. So you're better off from where you were at $83.33 because you've got down by like what, $8 or something. But you put so much time and energy into creating that new ad just for a slight shaving off of CPA cost, because you're not working with the platform any longer. You're working against what YouTube really want you to do. And so there's something else attached to this as well, is that when you do this and you increase your click-through rate by 1.2% to 2.2%, you've normally had to throw quite a lot at that ad, like higher claims, a bit more hype, a bit more energy in the ad, kind of really like trying to grab as many people as possible to come through to the ad and really push it. And when that happens, to get that 2.2%, what you'll normally find is you might drop on the website conversion. Your opt-in rates won't be quite so good. The amount of people that show or watch your videos aren't going to be quite so good. And as a result, your actual conversion rate of click to customer drops a little bit as well. Again, can feel like it goes unnoticed, but it's like a big change in the ad account. And when you do that, again, it all impacts CPA, and that can go back up to $90.91. So we had this experience in our agency, and it's very similar for everybody that we've spoken to, is that you think you've created a better ad and everyone reports, oh, you've just got to do better creative. You've got to clarify what that actually means. Like, what does better creative actually mean? Because if you get a higher click-through rate, that's what people used to think it was. Copywriters will all say, oh, if you've got more clicks, that's what the whole ad is about. The ad is designed to get the click. It's true to a certain extent. And the way that YouTube works is that you don't necessarily want that. That's not the, that might be like kind of the end goal of saying we want more people to come and buy our products, but more people to click from the ad to the site isn't necessarily the best focus any longer. It's not the best North Star to focus on any longer. So when you get this increase in CPA, it's often due to an increase in the CTR, which is crazy to think that. And you think, well, what the actual friggin' hell's going on there? And so this is where, like, don't worry, I've got you on this, because we've been focused on this a long time. So the good news about YouTube and focusing on it as a platform, it's growing all the time. People are spending more and more time on the platform, so the session time is increasing all the time. If you're advertising on YouTube, people see you as a big brand. They remember you when they see your videos. And really, I've always found if I watch a YouTube, and this is kind of anecdotal, I know, but if I was to watch a video on YouTube and someone gives me really good advice, it's not like I'm going to ever forget that person. It's almost like I almost remember the videos that I've seen in the past. And like, oh yeah, that was a really useful video. And I probably subscribed to the channel and got to know the channel owner. And I've bought so many things from videos. The setup with my camera and my light up here, and my microphone, everything was bought from advice from a YouTube channel owner. And the every kind of tech thing that's around me, I've gone and watched YouTube videos about people that talk about these products and say if they're good or not. And I'm like, cool, I'll then go buy or won't go buy based on their advice. But likewise for any info products as well at the same time, it's like I want to see if they've got good content on YouTube, see if they're a reputable brand, and then I'll consider buying from them. And that's kind of what we need to think about as well, is that as educators, even if we're selling physical products, we need to educate the audience a little, and then they just need to have a plan of what to do. So when it comes to you as an advertiser on the platform, it's like, right, the rules have changed and YouTube is a different beast to what it used to be. So we just need to plan on how to approach the platform to get the very best results. So this is kind of how I think about all of us as advertisers and marketers. Like, if there's a certain species of bee, and in fact, pretty much all bees do this. What they'll do is they'll fly around, and then once they find pollen or water or some resource that's useful for the hive, they'll fly back to the hive. They'll covered in pollen or water, etc., and they'll do this little dance in front of each other, and it's called the waggle dance. But the dance here that you can see this bee in the middle doing, and you can see the big orange like legs because they're covered in pollen. Kind of like a bit not easy to see there because it's all shaky, but you can see it like blurred underneath the wings. But yeah, they do this dance, and what they're saying to each other is like a dance, that their way of communicating where the resources are, and they're really, really accurate. So they know the distance and the direction, and then the bees go off in that direction and find the same pollen. They go to the same resource and come back to the hive with more of those resources, and that's kind of what happens. But as they do the waggle dance, about 80% of the bees will just go follow it regardless. But about 20% of the bees will be like, I saw the dance, but I'm going to go off in a different direction and not pay attention. I'm just going to go rogue for a little while. And in like animal psychology, it was such an interesting insight, and no one really knew. Maybe it wasn't effective. It wasn't an effective dance, but it was a really effective dance. It's just that 20% go off and look for more resources. Basically, they're fundamental to the survival of the hive. So that's how we have to think. Like average up marketers will think, oh, do you know what? I just need to test more and more creative all the time. We just need to improve our offer. We just need to test more audiences out. Like always doing the same thing, but just doing more of it. Whereas really experienced marketers, like everyone on the call here, have to at some point say there's got to be a better way. There's got to be another way of doing this and a better way of doing this to survive, really. So as we look at this conflict resolution, if you put them into a bit of a grid, then this is where like you can start to understand what needs to happen. So for the customer, if we're going to make sure that they get their problem solved, we need to deliver real value and build really good trust with them. And if we're going to be selling a product and you want to sell them something at profit, then we need to create a really no-brainer, simple break-even offer. So kind of a self-liquidating offer of some sort. We can say, right, they're going to see our video and then want to come through to our site. And as soon as they do, they see this offer that's just a very high conversion, and the price point is such that it's a bit of a no-brainer for them. And then from a YouTube perspective, we want to make sure that if YouTube want most of their viewers to stay on the platform, or are going to charge us for anybody that does leave the platform with a higher CPM, if our CTA is high, CTR is high, then what we've got to do is ensure that people only click to go to our website if they are ready to buy. And so we need to get people to a point where they know the pitch, they know that they've got to know you, they've got to like you, they've got to trust you, and are considering buying from you, you put that pitch in front of them, and then they're only going to click your video ad if you if they'll be fully informed before they click the link, which means that you're going to have a lower CTR, a lower CPM, but your conversion rate will be ridiculously high. And that's what we've been doing for a while now, and it's working really well. So the way we do this, we want to, the content we create has to be trust building, valuable content. The offer, I would normally recommend an offer that would either be free and then go quite quickly into like a book a call funnel, or it could be a demo product, if a demo of the product, if you have like a software, for example, or if you've got kind of physical products or something along those lines, you might have a kind of a $77 offer stack. So you'd say, right, here's all the things you're getting, it's $77, and just put that offer in front of those people. When I say $77, it can be lower than that. It can be down to like $10 if you really want. Just make sure your average order value is pretty strong. Or you can go higher than that as well. But it seems to me like the sweet spot's around about $77, I think. And then in the actual ad itself, I would pitch the offer with the price point of the offer. And the reason being is because you want people to be so fully informed that if they get through to that part of the video where you do the call to action, you want to make sure that they know exactly what they're clicking through for, and they're not curiosity clickers. These are people that are clicking knowing the price point and thinking, yeah, I want that offer. So they're only going to click if they know the offer, they know the price point, and are clicking through with that real informed opinion. So we know that when they get to the page, they're very likely to go buy. It's almost like they're just literally getting to the checkout, and you've done all the selling in the video itself. And so the video structure we tend to go for is like about 8 minutes worth of content and about 2 minutes worth of your offer and your pitch. So about 80% and 20%. And so we'd normally aim for about a 10-minute video. Any shorter than that, I don't think you get enough time to get people to know, like, and trust you and consider buying from you. Longer than that, yeah, you can probably still make that work, but then becomes a very long video. But I think that if people put their heart and soul into creating a 10-minute video, you only need to do this a few times, like 2-3 times maybe tops. But you're like, almost like if you're going to give a presentation on stage and you think, right, I'm going to try and give the best presentation I can, but it's going to be a 10-minute presentation. What are you going to put together? Like, what's the best content you can put together to ensure that you have about 8 minutes of content, people get to know, like, and trust you, and would consider buying from you. And then at that point, roll into your call to action for 2 minutes. And that would be a really good ad for the business to have. So yeah, so anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes, but I now looking with more and more data, I think it's like about 10-minute videos about right. If it's 9 or 8 minutes, absolutely fine. If it's kind of 11, 12 minutes, absolutely fine too. But I probably wouldn't move too far outside of that time interval.
And you're running this as an in-stream ad?
So we don't run these as in-stream ads. We are testing them right now, and the results are promising. But what we tend to do is, once we've proven out this ad format using in-feed video ads, and I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, and we use these as in-feed video ads. But then once we get them working, we then normally shorten them up a little bit. So just do an adaptation of the same video, like a version edit of the same video, and then run that as an in-stream ad. That's kind of like our, it's like a testing ground for the creative. But there's so many benefits of having this long form content that is actually, you're be proud to have it on your channel organically, you know. So you're growing not just your paid media, but you're growing your earned media and your owned media. So you're getting far more views and getting more reach, and because you've got organic content out there, but you're building your subscriber list and people getting to know the brand a lot more as well. So you're getting, instead of just having like paid media where if you stopped running the ads, you have literally no exposure whatsoever. Now you're saying, I'm spending the money on the ads, I'm hopefully making a decent return. But even if I was to turn off the ads, the videos now have got the life of their own organically, and they're out there on the channel with hundreds of thousands of views. And you've paid along the way, but you've grown your channel at the same time. And so it's really harnessing all the attributes of what YouTube can provide to you as a business. But yeah, so the question then becomes, well, how do we maximize the number of people seeing the pitch? How do we get how do we get people to watch all the way through 8 minutes and then would consider listening to what our pitch is? And this is what we've built as some software. So we built Bedurk, and in Bedurk we have like an X-ray tool, and this X-ray tool, we've done it with lots and lots of channel owners. Throughout 10 years, I get to meet a lot of people that trust me with their data, and we've run some stats on some incredible channels. So people like Alex Hormozy and Kasim Aslam. There's loads of like channels we've done, social media marketing, Mind Valley, loads of people. So we kind of get so much data about what works and what doesn't work. I'm not about to kind of tell you everything about everyone's channel, of course. But what I can tell you is that when we're like analyzing long form content, what we look for in particular is if people are watching like 8 minutes worth of content, we think, right, that means we know that this is like, we can isolate the best content that you currently have in your channel to say, that content at the 8 minute mark, this is how many people are still watching that video. So from this X-ray that we have here, this report, we can see that there's a lot of videos here that have people watching over 58% or 57, 56, 55% of the audience are still watching after 8 minutes, which is an incredibly high number, right? We're saying like to have like more than half of your viewers that started watching the video continuing to watch more than 8 minutes on YouTube, and there's loads of distractions, that's a really good video. And so what we do is we learn from those videos and say, what is it about those videos and the content and the presenting style that grabs people's attention and makes it like, and holds their attention for 8 minutes. But with this, we'd aim for getting round about 55% of the viewers to watch the pitch. Now, this, when we have that data, we know why that's working. What does this really mean? Well, it changes everything for us, because now that we've got like a 10-minute video and let's say 55% of people are watching past 8 minutes, right? So up to this point, we've got 55% of people watching up to 8 minutes. That means 55% of your viewers you paid for get to see your sales pitch and would consider your sales pitch as well. Versus the old method, which we've been running for years. Let's say, for example, you get a 2% click-through rate. That's pretty good going. And then you get 10% of those people to get to the point where you're pitching your offer. Okay. That means you've got 0.2% of the viewers you paid for get to see the sales pitch. And so then it becomes, what do you want? Do you want 55% of all your viewers you've ever bought to see your sales pitch? Or do you want 0.2% of people that you've bought as viewers to see your sales pitch? And that's, I mean, in this case, it's 275 times more people. But this is kind of the thing. What would you rather have? Would you rather have 550 warmed up viewers or 2 really hot visitors from 1,000 viewers that to get to see your pitch? And it's just obvious to me that like, oh my word, yeah. And all the other benefits as well, because you're going to be running these ads and you get loads of people to see your sales pitch. But also you get those videos take a life of their own organically. They're on your channel. You grow that brand, you grow that presence. And this is kind of where we think anyone who's looking to get into YouTube advertising, to start here, get great results, and then use this as a foundation, a bedrock to all your future success on YouTube with like in-stream video ads. You know, like get this right from the outset. And then once you've got this working really well, then you say, right, I've got a launch pad now to then say, cool, I know what creative works. I know what offers work. I know what my messaging needs to be. Now I'm so much more informed with all that data to now run in-stream video ads that gives you the on-ramp to start getting really good results. So when we look at this, we can break down this video and we use a formula called educate. Now, I'm just conscious of time here because I know that we can go deep on this subject. How are we doing, Justin? Is this useful content? Is it valuable? Do you want me to go deeper?
For sure. Yeah. I'm already like, oh man, I need to start doing some more of this, because I mean, I do have a large YouTube channel, and I've seen how, you know, we have like 110,000 subscribers on one of our channels, and I've seen how that can, like, you know, when you have that, any video you put out, you can drive tons of free traffic using that. And I was like, wait, why am I not doing this in my main business? You know, I was like, wait, hold up. So yeah, I'm digging.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Yeah. So I think that like anyone who's got a good YouTube channel will say like, oh my word, YouTube is our biggest source of best customers. Like it seems to always be, oh, when someone comes from our YouTube video, they always buy, they're a better customer. They've got to know, like, and trust me for a long time. And they've been geeking out over my content for years, and then they go buy. And ask anyone who's got a good YouTube channel, they will say, oh yeah, it's our biggest source of good customers, typically. And so once you've got it, it's great. It's getting there is the hard bit, right? So like when you look at your subscriber count, if you're kind of most companies, they'll be like, okay, cool, I've got 603 subscribers. And I don't qualify for all the kind of YouTube partner sessions and all that sort of stuff. And my content probably could be improved, but I don't really know where to get started. Or I've put so much time and energy and effort into already doing this, and I'm not really getting anywhere. I feel like I'm just treading water. And when will I get my breakthrough? And yeah, it's not always easy for everybody to kind of immediately get onto YouTube and crush it. So this is like, we could see the power of being really good on organic and using paid to promote your organic content. But kind of, I think a lot of people look at YouTube and think, oh, it looks like a lot of hard work. Maybe next year I'll get round to that. I can honestly say this is the perfect time, but also we're going to bypass all of that hard work because we're going to, as advertisers, we're going to just pay to get through that period. You know, we're going to pay to transform our YouTube channel and our brand and get that going, and hopefully make a very good return doing it at the same time, building that launch pad for bigger things, but also having this huge brand on YouTube, where you can choose to get in front of exactly the right customers with amazing content. So I'll talk about content I think works really well from YouTube, from what I've seen from all these X-rays we've done with lots of brands. And then yeah, we'll talk about how we amplify this stuff. So we always recommend starting with an action plan of some sort. So when it comes to your videos on YouTube, like before you even start putting pen to paper or scripting anything, and I very rarely recommend scripting a 10-minute video, it's just too much typically. I would say, look, get to be yourself, be who you are typically. But start with like a content theme, like a framework that you're going to share with someone in a video. Anytime we look at videos, we've got like the 3 ways to do something, or the 5-step framework, or the system, or the whatever it might be. As soon as you frame up your content like that, your retention goes through the roof, because people want to complete that open loop. You've shown them something and they want more of that content. They want to finish the training, so to speak. So a few relatively famous people along the top here in the internet marketing world, I should clarify, not famous, famous. But yeah, like Brendan Burchard in particular, he is very well known for having these models and having these like frameworks that you can follow along with. And it's great content. It gets very, very high engagement and very, very high retention. So you want to kind of create a similar thing. On the right-hand side there with Karen, she has like a hamburger system, which is like a layering approach for doing mixed media art. And so everyone can have different themes, but you want to make sure it feels like someone needs to complete that journey. But that's what you want to start your video with. Like, get your framework, get your thing you want to share with somebody, and make it very like a useful video around that. Now, make sure it's simple for the viewer to get. So as soon as they see it, they're like, yep, cool, got it. It'll position you as the expert immediately, because it gives you that credibility when you have a framework or a plan. It builds really good trust with people very fast. It opens a loop in the viewer's mind, because they can't not complete that journey with you, because once they've started it, they want to complete it. And it's a really easy way to structure your teaching. If you have a framework, you can say, right, I'm just going to walk through these steps of this framework that you're very familiar with, that you created yourself because it's your own proprietary system. And it really subtly sells what you're doing if you do it right, which I'll talk about in just a second, and so much more that you're about to find out about. All right, so we use Educate, and it's a acronym. And as we go through these points, I want you to think a bit like you've already got your framework, you've got your content, and now what we're going to do is we're going to use these as prompts just to cover off pieces of your video as you go. Now, it's really important you start with teaching. Like with every video we've done that we've seen work really well with customers with a really good intro, is to get straight into content. No logos, no stingers, no introductions, nothing like that. The thumbnail of your video is the introduction. You just want to get straight into content as quickly as you can. Like literally start the video like, all right, step number 1, here's what you're going to do. Because the video thumbnail's done the selling. It's like, is it the 3-step system to overcoming anxiety or something? Then you might say, all right, step number 1, here's what we do. And so you just start off with the education. Just start and let the viewer just be like bold back, like, oh, wow, we're in already, let's go. It's really important you do that, but then follow this framework of Educate. So AIM is the first part. Now, when you go to your aim, you want one sentence to explain who this video is for. So their demographic or their psychographics, their immediate wants, and their desired outcome and emotional benefits. It needs to kind of pretty much go into 1-2 sentences. All right. So it's a challenge to get into one sentence, but let me give you an example of this in action for a golf product. So you might say, right, this right here is the XYZ system that you're literally holding up or showing on the screen, and it's going to help you fix your slice for good. So that's the action plan, right? So the XYZ system. And the immediate wants are fix your slice for good. I know it might sound too good to be true, but if you're a weekend golfer looking to post some of your best scores ever, leaving your buddies wondering what the heck just happened, then let's unpack this together. So that's the demo and the psychographics. You're a weekend golfer. So it's like classifying your ability. It's not like you're playing golf every single day. You're just doing it casually. Your desired outcome is posting some of your best scores ever. Emotional benefits, leaving your buddies wondering what the heck just happened. So you kind of like can visualize that and be like, that would feel good if you could do that. And the last part is the question is, are you ready to fall back in love with your golf game? All right, then let's do this. So this part is another emotional benefit of talking about loving golf again, because a lot of people that have the slice or have a slice in golf, it makes them feel like they want to give up and never play again. But they once started playing golf when they're much younger, and they absolutely got the bug and loved it. So this is kind of like an example, but whatever it is for your business, you want to try and include a lot of these pieces to your aim. Now, when it comes to the second part, you've got your difficulty. Now, this is like what's standing in the way of someone getting the result they want. So again, the current challenge, we want one sentence. So the current challenge, the emotional pain they're experiencing, and what they stand to lose is really important. So let's give you another example. Now, here's the truth. If you currently stand over the ball with zero confidence and want to snap your clubs in frustration every time you watch your ball banana off into the trees or lake, then this next part is really important, because if you don't fully get it, you'll actually embed bad habits and your golf game will never improve. Now, this has been typed up very quickly, so I'm sure the copy could be improved. But the point is here, it's like, I want you just to present naturally. That's the way to think about this. Like, don't overthink the script so much. It's just to kind of say it in a way with like good energy and you feel good about what you're saying. So this is the current challenge. They're seeing their ball banana off into the trees or lake. It's like a very visual. Yeah, I feel that every single time. I see that every single time. The emotional pain is if you currently stand over the ball with zero confidence. Yeah. And you want to snap your clubs in frustration. So we're aligning with their emotional pains. And then they stand to lose something as well. So if they don't do this, they'll embed bad habits and their golf game will never improve. So this is what you stand to lose. It's going to get worse if you don't focus on this. So that's your difficulty. And again, I would just like literally just put bullet points down. I wouldn't be necessarily thinking I've got to get this into a perfect script. Write it down and just like practice out loud a little bit, and then you'll be good to go with your script or with your video. Next part is your undertaking. So the undertaking is your why. Like, why is this important to you? So what you want to do is you want to tell people why you took this on, like why you built this system that you're about to talk with them about, or this framework, why you built that in the first place. Now, a really good way of doing this is to introduce two types of people. So you could say, look, I've been in the field for a long time and I can see there's two types of people in this world or in this industry. There's one that will be like this, and there'll be another one that will be like this. Okay. You're dividing up your audience, and it has to be based on truth. But once you do that, you're going to find that you are able to start using that to your advantage. Now, you've got to be this subtle, and you can use this unethically, but I want people to think about this and just be like, this is a really useful tool rather than using it for bad. It's just stating the truth. So let's say, for example, in direct response advertising or in YouTube advertising, I feel like there's one group of people that like direct response advertisers. And I think there's another group of people that are like content advertisers. They kind of are really good at creating content, may not be quite so good at direct response. And are like, my content's damn good. And if more people saw it, I know that I'll do well. And that's kind of who this is for, right? This is kind of like a different approach to YouTube advertising that I think can work really well. Now, it's not to say one is more positive or different or negative. It's just, they're just different. You can have a bit more of a positive or a negative. So with guitar tuition, we'd have audiences where we think, right, you are either a dabbler at playing guitar because you pick up the guitar and just muck around with it, and then you might not play for a couple of weeks, and then you just pick it up again and try and learn again. Or you could be like a guitar, like you could become like a real guitar player, perhaps, which is like where you're saying, I'm going to play guitar every day for a set period of time with a routine, and I'm going to be constantly developing my skills. And there's kind of two different types of guitar player then. Now, you could look at this as negative or positive, but you're just saying, which camp do you fall into? And when someone associates with that camp, they're like, yeah, that's me. That's who I am. That's kind of what resonates. I see that pattern in my own behavior. Therefore, I'm this type of person. Now, it shouldn't be like a negative too much. It's just a self-recognition. Like they can kind of chuckle about it and think like, yeah, that's kind of me. That sounds like me. And we want that to happen so that they can see themselves as a certain identity, right? So this is the guitar one that we just talked about. I'm not sure if I need to, let me share again with, I'm going to try and share this time with audio, in fact, if that's cool.
Yeah, it should work.
All right, so hopefully this works with the audio now.
After teaching over 35,000 guitar students just like you, I can determine with incredible accuracy whether you'll fizzle out and quit or if you'll become an actual guitar player. Do you have any guesses yet? Watch very closely for the answer. The top shows a person who just dabbles at guitar. They'll go all in on something exciting, then have long stretches of time without actually playing. Every time they start up again, they go back to the beginning, never building on top of previous success. On the bottom is a person who quickly becomes a real guitar player because they commit to playing consistently above all else. These people go on to be real guitar players who can learn new songs fast, play for their spouse, jam around the campfire, or play in their church band. Every single one of them started right where you're at, sitting in front of a computer with your guitar in hand or nearby, sitting on the cusp of a major decision. Will I be a dabbler or will I be a guitar player?
Okay, so what we've put there is to say, right, there's two types of guitar players, as I mentioned, and now we're saying there's they are in a place where they're making a really important decision, a major decision, which is, am I going to be a dabbler or am I going to be a real guitar player? So you've moved this decision away from, am I going to skip this ad or am I going to continue watching or click to the website, to this is a decision based on your identity. Like, who do you want to be and who do you want to become? If you skip this ad, and you've aligned as one of these identities, you're going to probably confirm that you're staying in the identity you probably don't want if you have this pain. Whereas if you click, you can have the opportunity to start affirming and changing and or affirming your new identity. And this is where we can start to build tension, because we can say to them, who are you going to be? And now this decision about clicking the ad becomes so much more important than simply, oh, I'll just check it out. I'll see what's going on this website. To, if I don't click this now, I'm probably going to be a dabbler all my life, you know. And this is a subtle way of adding tension, and it's an honest way of adding tension. It just has to be done right. And so once you get that right, it really helps, and you can apply this to every single video you do in the future as well. You can kind of clarify these two different types of audiences. You can say who you want to be and what sort of crowd you generate or create with them, or build with them. And as a result, people feel like, my identity being with your company, your brand, makes me feel good, you know. And that's kind of what we're trying to bring about with these videos. So you also want to add why it's important to you, why you want to help these people as well. This gives you an opportunity to kind of really share your values with people, and tell other people what you stand for and what you stand against. Because when people making a buying decision, they're buying based off emotion, sure, like they want to feel something about the products they're buying from you. That's one thing that's really important, right? So deep down, it makes them feel something, that's what they're buying. But the differentiator why they buy from you and that no other brand that probably provides the same service as you is that, yes, it's the emotion, but it's the way in which you do business as well. Like, I'm buying from this brand because I like this brand, but it's because of the way they do business. It's maybe the personal brand behind it, perhaps, or maybe it's like what this brand stands for or stand against. And when we align with the values of a brand or values of an individual, we feel so much closer to them as well. We know why they operate, and that makes us feel really good. So you want to be sharing your values with people, sharing your opinions and what you stand for and what you stand against. Because if other people align with that, they'll be like, oh my word, not only are you going to be delivering on the emotion I want, but also I really like the way you go about it. And I feel like I can build a really strong relationship with you. So you want to be sharing your values in the videos you create, like what you stand for and what you stand against. Now, you also will need to build your credibility as well. Now, this will come through with your undertaking a little bit as well, but why on earth you? Why should you be the person that created this framework? So why were you qualified to take on this mission, to create this framework to help these people that are struggling? Like, why on earth you? Like, and what's your unique thing that makes you so great? So you want to show how your unique point of view meant you discovered the real root cause to the problem that people are facing. So if it's a problem that people are facing, they've had it for a long time, they probably not got to the root cause of the problem just yet. They probably tried to patch over with different products and services to try to get through and muddle their way through. But really, they probably know deep down there's something else going on that is stopping them from getting the result. Because otherwise they wouldn't be in this situation any longer. And they wouldn't be searching YouTube for answers. They would have known the answer and they would have just fixed it. But if they don't know the answer, which is typically why they're going to YouTube in the first place, then they probably haven't really tackled that root cause or even know what that root cause is. Now, if everyone before you has tried to figure it out and not achieved it, then why on earth do you think you're capable to do it? That's kind of the question I'll pose to any business owner or any creator or any founder. And what we want to make sure we know is like, oh, we were able to find the solution to this problem because we have a unique perspective. We have a unique point of view on the world that allowed us to have the breakthrough. So, for example, for me, looking at running YouTube ads, having done it for 10 years and worked with some of the biggest brands and spent a fortune on YouTube ads, analyzing all the data, I get to see a lot of stuff. And that was when I analyzed all the data, that's when I saw the relationship between CPM and CTR to be like, oh my word, this is a real big problem. And it's been going on for about 18 months. YouTube changed the rules and it's affecting people without them really realizing it. And so through the data analysis of all the data I had, that was my unique perspective. And that's why I was able to see this discovery of like looking at the CTRs and the CPM and being like, oh my word, this is going to change everything. Like if this carries on like this and competition increases, wow, like CTR and CPM, this impact is going to get bigger and bigger and more difficult to get the results. So once you've explained that, you want your viewer to be like, oh my word, that makes so much sense. I see it now. I understand why this has been so difficult for me. And I now trust this person's opinion and their way forward out of this mess as well. So when you're going through this, you're peppering this content or these kind of like these bullet points throughout your content. So you're still teaching. You're just going through aim, difficulty, understanding, credibility and you're peppering in these pieces. So once you've kind of explained your perspective and your kind of your point of view, building your credibility, what you then need to do, and you've explained the whole of your model at this point, then what you want to do is tell them how you had to model, that model had to adapt. And this is where you start moving into your call to action. So this, the A, T, and E, adapt, and I'll go through the T and E in a second, are kind of your call to action. It starts moving, like adapt is like the bridge into the call to action. So adapt is where we say, right, we've got this model, we've got this framework, and it worked. But it wasn't yet perfect. It was really effective, but it wasn't perfect for the marketplace just yet. It was really highly effective, but it wasn't ready due to either economics. It was just too expensive to run for everybody. And we need to work on how we can deliver the same solution for cheaper. It could be speed, like people were getting ridiculously good results, but it was just taking a little bit too long for us to be able to bring this to market. It could be like it got great results, but it was quite complex. It needed like experts to pull this off and a lot of hand holding and to get the result. Or it could be access. It could be like, look, this works really, really well, but you need to work with us in a one-to-one setting in order to make this happen. That makes the access point even more, like a bit more harder. But what you want to do is say, look, it wasn't yet ready because of one of these reasons. And you're reflecting at this point your values again. You're saying, I wasn't prepared to go and sell it just yet because it wasn't fully ready just yet. Now, by highlighting a slight weakness and say this model wasn't ready yet, you're aligning with people and building trust with people, because they think, oh, wow, if you're the first to go and you tell us about a slight weakness of this product, you build trust. It's not detrimental to the actual effectiveness, as we've seen here. It's more that like, there's a slight drawback. But then it gives you an opportunity to deliver the strongest element of your solution. So you can say it works ridiculously well. So it took a little bit too long to get people to get results, but it did work incredibly well for people. But so we had to go back to the drawing board and redesign this a little bit to get it to work even more effectively. And you're telling people that the second edition of this product, you know, the kind of, it wasn't quite ready yet. It was an alpha or beta, and then we brought it to the market when it was ready. So now it's fixed. Here's the new version. So you want to talk about that and say, right, we adapted. I know Educate, as our system, has been through a few changes as a result of CTRs and CPMs. So then you want to build in some trust at this point. So you've built this new model. You don't have to unpack this new model. You've just said, look, we built this newer framework, this updated framework, and now look at how it's being received by different people. So it could be like testimonials. It could be man or woman on the street being interviewed. It could be press. It could be newspapers. It could be TV interviews. But what you want to really highlight is people like your customers, people like us. You want them. You want your customers to be thinking, people just like me, people like us, buy things like this. And as a result, people feel like, oh my word, I can trust in this product because people just like me buy it and are enjoying the results of it as well. And so you're showing them at this point, like, look, other people are getting great results, and it's being shown here. And then we move into the final part of Educate, which is your exit. This is your call to action. Now, this is the part which is important to reduce that CTR. Okay, so what we want to do is you want to pitch your offer. So pitch your core offer of what you're providing with your price. So quote your price in the video itself. You want to tell people who it's for, who it's not for, pulling back on those identities we talked about earlier. And then you want to create bonuses to handle the objections that people are likely to have. So if they're saying, oh, well, do you know what? It's kind of like, I don't know how about this part, and this is going to be another, you've got to create bonuses for all those different questions that people will have and stack that to your offer. Make sure you add a guarantee to make sure they feel like complete certainty. And then again, build that tension by telling them what they stand to gain and lose if they decide to take you up on your offer or don't take you up on the offer, and base it based on their identity, because you're not going to be able to have a YouTube video that stands the test of time by saying, oh, we've only got 10 spaces available, or for limited time only, or something along those lines, just to add that scarcity, which is all fake anyway. What you want to do is like say to them, look, like, honestly, if you don't take action today, that's another decision you're making to say, not going to handle this problem today. And you want to make sure that people realize that if they don't do this, this is what the future looks like. This is what your identity looks like. Again, be subtle with it. Be careful with it. Don't be, well, be British about it. I should say, be very conservative about it. Yeah. And then you can add a call to action at the end of that video. Just to say, go get it right now, click this link and go buy. All right, so once you've done that, then it's the job, like, right, you've created this killer video, and you might do like 3 or 4 of them. Now what you want to do is use in-feed video ads and keywords, right? So you're going to see like in-feed video ads where the like video is on YouTube, you can click to play it, and it's going to open up the video on the platform. And let's say, for example, if you went to the search bar as well and started typing in certain keywords, and you can say, right, that's your keyword, then you can make sure that your video shows at the top of the search results, or on the right-hand side if you're on desktop, underneath if you're currently watching a video on a mobile device. And then they're going to click that and it plays your video inside the platform as well. Now, what you're doing there is you're just paying to get the right people clicking to watch your videos. So you can choose based on demographics and keywords and locations and all the rest of it as well. All the data you're normally used to running, you're just running it now as an in-feed video ad. So the only people that are seeing your video are looking for it using keyword targeting and are the right demographic, the kind of the perfect audience for you to see your video. So every view you get is a very qualified viewer. And you're happy to pay for it because if they watch your content and watch it for 8 minutes, it's a very good chance they're going to see your pitch and consider buying from you. Now, it's not going to be quite the same as like an in-stream video ad where you're checking on conversions and you're seeing the flow of the journey and you're using machine learning to help you and build your campaign, the growth of that campaign. It's going to be much more manual bidding with CPV bidding. But when you do it, you're going to find that you're able to kind of grow those accounts really quickly, because you're going to be able to see your YouTube channel grow really fast with paid advertising, but also you're going to get the results, hopefully, of like profitable results from your ad campaigns. So you get the best of both worlds, organic and paid together. All right, so this is just an example of an account and how we run it. For the account itself, its cost has been 17,000. This is up until late November. 248 sales. Cost per sale is $69.74, and the sale price on the website is about $70 to $250, depending if they take the monthly or the annual fee. And they've had 128,000 views. They've had 8,741 likes. They've had 8,832 playlist editions, and they've had 4,778 additional views. So once you've paid for some views, people go in to watch other videos after that point as well. Now, when you have all this data coming together, you're saying, right, we're already making profit from the ad campaigns, but now look at us. We've had all this organic exposure as well. A lot of this stuff is limited by budget as well. So when we're running these campaigns, we're not spending much. It's like $5, $10, $15 a day per campaign. And we start much lower than that sometimes as well, like $5 a day per campaign, just a few campaigns, get some good success and then start scaling it up. But it's all limited by budget. So as soon as we're seeing good numbers, we keep on creeping up that ad spend. It means we're really building this organic, huge beast. So the simple steps are this: choose a cluster of keywords, build your educate video, and then amplify that with about $500 budget for about a month or two and see how it works. And if it works really well for you, keep going, keep spending and keep growing. So if you want to crush it in 2023, then here's what you want to do. If you want to crush YouTube ads with 2023, a couple of things. If you're a brand, just email sarah@bedurk.com, and Sarah will be happy to kind of direct you in a way to get a free x-ray of your YouTube channel. So we can look at your data, run it through with you. You can get so many insights about what works and what doesn't work for your content. And yeah, it can be really, really valuable to go through that. We're happy to do that completely free of charge. If you want to go to bedurk.com, you'll see people raving about it. It's a very, very useful call, and you get so much insight from that. And if you are an agency running ads for your clients and you're interested in providing this sort of service to them, which again, we do this in our agency and it works very, very well indeed. Great for prospecting using this tool, and great for running accounts as well. You can actually license our X-ray software as well. And you'll gain access to all of our educate and amplify trainings as well. So you can literally walk through and we'll show you how to set things up and how to run things. We already have a whole bunch of clients running this sort of running an X-ray of their YouTube channel and then amplifying their best content. Yeah, it's not a huge monthly fee, but it's a really, really nice way of building an agency where you just know you're providing a ridiculously good service to customers and building that bedrock and that foundation that you can then grow upon that into bigger things as well. So yeah, if you're a brand who's looking to get really big results on YouTube this year, then email sarah@bedurk.com and we'll begin the relationship and start doing one of your X-rays for you. And if you're an agency and you're interested in licensing our product for your own and like white labeling it, email laney@bedurk.com and just explain like, oh, I just listened to Tom on the call with Justin, and we will sort you out with links and explain what the offers are and all that sort of stuff, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's everything for today, Justin. I think unless you've got other questions, I'm happy to stick around if you want to, or yeah, I'll hand back to you.
I mean, so I mean, this is awesome. But I honestly, I guess I kind of noticed the whole thing where as your click-through rate goes up, your cost kind of ended up going up, which I was like, this doesn't quite make sense. But I didn't put two and two together until you broke it down like that. I was like, oh geez. And honestly, like this whole method where you're basically, you know, the educate and amplify thing, obviously the whole figuring out what's working, applying that, huge. And this seems like an extremely easy way to get that data without you having to go dig in or you know, whoever's trying to do this, having to go in and really dig into those analytics, all that kind of stuff, makes a huge difference there, especially if you have, you know, more than like 10 videos. This would take you forever to do by yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you're not going to get the data
ultimately,
from YouTube for sure. Yeah, it's so
right,
difficult
right,
to use YouTube analytics, and this is like something
right.
just really shows you and guides you. Like, here's how to make better content, and then also here's the content to amplify and get the very best results from.
Right. And then what I really love about this is this when I first got started with YouTube ads, what I was doing was literally taking VSLs, webinars, things like that, and running them as video discovery ads, right? Which is now the in-feed ads. This is basically kind of bringing it all back to what I loved doing. It was extremely profitable. And honestly, I haven't seen anybody do this in a very long time. Clearly it's working, but on top of that, you're also building these big audiences, building up your YouTube channel, actually building a long-term asset for your business, which like we were talking about before, you can't really, you can't put a dollar amount on that. Like having a big presence on YouTube, or even some presence with devoted people, instead of just running in-stream ads, things like that, like actually focusing on what YouTube really is, which is a content platform, right? So it's essentially taking the best of the two, and ultimately what YouTube is people go there to consume content. So if you can make it feel less like an ad, more like content, but still make an offer at the end, I thought that was huge with the whole educate system. I love it. So
good man. Thank you so much, buddy. Yeah, it's always nice to hear kind words and things like that. So yeah, I see the results, and it's working really, really well for us. And yeah, we're just at that stage, I think, like having done it for 10 years, we also want to kind of build relationships with agencies where we're like, look, we can run this with as many clients as we can, but building an agency and building a whole team and things is to support like hundreds of clients is a challenge that we're kind of we kind of look at it and be like, right, we love doing it with our clients. We also love helping agencies do a very similar thing. And we run it ourselves. So we love these sorts of clients. We love running these sorts of campaigns. Really, really good fun. And it's like, do you know what's really nice sometimes as well, is it's nice to be able to like work with those brands that are producing really good content, and then like really just helping them grow further. They're normally the good guys in the industry, right? Although when I say guys, I mean every gender, but like it's always like those people that can produce really good like content because they're so talented, but they might not just have like perfect ads, and they might not have perfect funnels and this sort of stuff. It's like, right, the people that have really good talent and can create great content and great courses, and their customers love them, that is the customer type that really benefits from this. And I think there's the vast majority of people are in that camp and trying to figure out direct response, which is really hard and harder than it's ever been before. And this is the new way of approaching YouTube to get very, very good results. And yeah, we're so excited and bullish on it.
yeah, man, this is awesome. So I guess one other question I have: you're just setting these up as campaigns without a goal, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're running them as CPV campaigns, basically. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So just like it used to be back in the day when you're kind of digging in, seeing, hey, this is what works. And also, like I used to do a lot of promoting my own content for a bigger channel. That's kind of how we got it kickstarted. I was like, hey, here's the video here's the keyword I want to rank for, and I would basically just target that keyword and a few other keywords like that. Throw a video discovery ad up, and boom, it worked extremely well. So yeah, I'm glad to see this kind of presented this way again. And obviously, I guess it never really stopped working, but when you layer your software on top of it, it just makes everything so much gives you so much more clarity. So when you're going into this, like you were saying, you only need 2 or so of these videos. You're not having to throw a ton of things at the wall to see what's working and what's not. You have that clarity, so you're not wasting all that time in the beginning. So that's part of the reason I wanted to have you on here, because Badurk software it's awesome, man. I dig it. So
no, nice. Yeah, it's so funny that people create this amazing content, and then just because it doesn't get that many views, they don't think it's very good. It's like, it's just not got that many people watching it yet, and it's great content, and people that do watch it absolutely love it. And now we get the opportunity just to put some ad spend behind it, get it in front of exactly the right people. And we've seen these like videos that are like lurking in the background doing really well when people do watch them. And so we can just put some ad spend behind it. It just blows up the channel and the business so quickly. It's so exciting to see it. But yeah, you just can't find that data unless you use the software of Badurk. It's really hard to see that data and understand how to improve the content, but also then like all the other attributes to their software, where it can tell you, like, are the intros good? Are the is it the right content? Are there magic moments in the videos? Are they being set up the right way? And all the rest of it. So there's loads to go through, and we love jumping on X-ray calls with people and just like talking through their content and sharing them how to best use that for futures.
Nice. Yeah. And clearly, one last thing I just want to kind of bring up real quick. YouTube is also inside of the creator dashboard now, or the creator studio. They're actually adding the option. They used to have this back in the day where they had the promote button and it would take you into Google Ads and give you a really simple interface for boosting your videos, essentially. They're bringing that back. So this is something that they are going to, they want you to do. They are, like you're saying, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Like, this is exactly what they want you to do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be adding those things into Creator Studio and kind of merging those two, ads, or the ad platform with the content platform, if you will. That they're definitely making a big push for this. So the sooner you adapt to this, the better off your business is going to be. Plus, like we were talking about earlier, you're building a long-term asset for your business. So you can't really go wrong here. Like, you're literally building an audience, a brand. You're getting people to know, like, and trust you, and at least break even when you pull it off the right way. So love the system, love the presentation and everything that you brought to us today. So thanks so much. And I would encourage everybody, definitely reach out to either Lainey or Sarah, and just let them know, hey, check out the training, whatever, loved it, wanted to get this in, and check out that free X-ray call. It's you literally have nothing to lose there. So
definitely, yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, Justin, as well. And thank you again.
For sure, man. We'll keep in touch.